Today's topic is nepotism, the process that allows this man to become one of the most powerful in the world.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Nepotism can be defined as the unfair practice by a powerful person of giving jobs and other favors to relatives. It's why the boss's nephew gets the promotion while you're stuck filing his papers, or why actors' younger siblings get to clog up Hollywood when we all know they're not as good as the real thing. Yeah, we're looking at you, Dave Franco. It is a practice that we are all aware of, and most of us have a problem with. In fact, many governments and companies have policies against the unfair hiring of relatives. Yet, if you think that stops it from happening, you may be wrong. Take a look at what's happened recently in North Carolina, the state where you're welcome to marry your cousin as long as she's not the same sex as you. On September 8th, the city of Kinston approved a rule change to its nepotism policy, which would allow family members of the city council and mayor's office to get jobs with the city. The policy has almost no support from the city. Even B.J. Murphy, the mayor of Kinston, was in strong opposition. A poll was created on his website which showed that 82% of the city was against it. That means that this change in nepotism policy has less support from North Carolina than presidential candidate D's nuts. This strong opposition brings up the question of why a policy change would even be proposed, let alone approved. Well, just ask City Councilman Win Whittington, who first brought the topic to the city for discussion.
Whittington, he was the first to discuss this change. He admits he brought this discussion up after his brother unsuccessfully tried to get a job.
That's right. Little Winnie's brother had trouble getting a job, so he decided to change the rules to make it easier for him. Essentially, city councilmen are just playground bullies who make up the rules to a game as it goes along. I get to be invincible because I say so, Kevin. If you don't like it, go home. I'm the one with the swimming pool. As you'd expect, Whittington was met with some criticism for this. Surely, though, from a politician, we can expect a well-thought-out and articulate response that rationally explains his positions.
Mine's been questioned, and that's fine. You have that luxury. But you don't know me. You don't know anything about me.
You don't know me? You don't know me? That is not the response that should be given by a politician when his integrity is brought into question. That's the response that is given by a white rapper when the haters start to doubt his street cred. But the nepotism policy of Kinston was changed, whether the city wanted it or not, because the person who gets to make the rules had a personal reason to change them. And this is something that happens quite often. If nepotism in business or even small government doesn't really bother you, you might have a change of opinion when you see how it can truly affect people. Just listen to Shay Wilkes, a Department of Veterans Affairs clinical worker in Louisiana. In a recent interview, Wilkes explained some of the nepotistic hiring processes that he saw at the VA, stating that preference wasn't given to the veterans and that his local office was filled with good old boys. Well, no wonder veterans can't get the proper treatment. The good old boys at the VA office are too busy drinking moonshine and watching Dukes of Hazzard reruns. But in all seriousness, even if the Department of Veterans Affairs, a organization meant to help veterans, can't put themselves above nepotism, there's a clear problem. How could the boss of the VA even explain this to a veteran? So, I see here that you put your life on the line to fight for your country, and that's great and all, but Cousin Joe said he'd tell Mom who broke Grandpa's model plane last Christmas, so the job is his. Shay Wilkes is clearly upset at his VA office, but him speaking out is a brave move. In the same interview, Wilkes' co-worker Brandon Coleman described how he was threatened to be fired and put on administrative leave for coming forward with a complaint. And that is the problem. We all know that nepotism is wrong, but we continue to allow it to happen. And when people allow unwanted things to continue, disaster is inevitable, such as this, the fourth Alvin and the Chipmunks movie.
When the road trip becomes...
You drive like my grandmother! This is awesome!
The road chip.
The road chip? Seriously? Why is this a thing? And that's the point. I don't want this movie, and you don't want this movie. So why is it happening? The same could be asked about nepotism. There is only one way for us to combat nepotism. We must stop caring about our families. If you're the boss, say to yourself, hey, my nephew failed out of University of Phoenix Online. Maybe he's not the best for the job. We cannot allow jobs to be unfairly given to family when there are already too many qualified applicants. We cannot allow veterans to be screwed over because they're not one of the good old boys. The only way out of this endless cycle of nepotism is to acknowledge it when it happens. And if not, well then you can get you better get a chip on yourself. That's our show tonight. Thanks for tuning in to the week that was.